Hello, and welcome to another episode of A Thought in Progress, subtitled I Have Something to Say. Today, I want to talk a little bit about a psychological idea of, well, sociological too, of the idea of in group versus out group. Um, and it really is at the heart of a lot of uh, social and cultural um, expression. Um, So it's very endemic of the human condition. And what I'm talking about is I identify with a certain group, maybe based on my skin color or my education level or any other socioeconomic status symbols or whatnot. And I identify with this group. Maybe you can break it down all the way into family. So I have uh, mom, dad, brother, and that's kind of my family group. And so I kind of look at that group for safety and certainty and things. Um, and everything outside of that kind of is in this fog of uncertainty. And then, okay, so then I go out from my family group and I gain friends or coworkers or other people that I identify in some way with. And then they become less foggy and more certain and safe. Unfortunately, what can tend to happen is I'll use my prison experience for example. Um, so I'm in prison and I'm there long enough so that I start to identify with the other inmates, and a sense of community develops because we have a common enemy. So there's the in group of the prison population and the out group of the justice system and correctional officers and judges and whatnot. Um, Humans thrive on a relationship of uh, a contrast of victimhood and enemy, and whoever's validating them in that moment and in that relationship. So um, I bond with the inmates because we have a common enemy. You see how that's sociological in nature, and it goes back to evolution and survival of the species. It really does. And that's the problem. It is so woven into who we are that we don't see it. It becomes transparent and we don't see it. So I would really love to challenge you to try and look at it opaquely and see it for what it is, um, because it comes down to, as most things in reality and with humans, it comes down to, right, a sense of safety, a sense of how do I deal with my own mortality, and a sense of being certain about the reality I'm living in the current moment. So let that sink in for a moment. Um, but you can see it in every human situation. Social justice, racial justice, uh, left versus right in political realm. I identify with a group, and part of me identifying with that group, I identify with that group because I am not other. I am not the other group. So that demonizes that other group and turns them into a monster when really they're probably more like you than you would even think. They're just on the other side of the issue, and that makes them automatically wrong in the enemy. I'm I'm trying really really hard to make sense and simplify this, but I'm not sure I'm doing a good job. Um, One way that humanity deals with the uncertainty of its own mortality is to make its immediate environment as certain and safe as possible. And we do that by establishing relationships that make a safe zone. And everything outside of that safe zone becomes demonized, it starts out as fear and then turns to anger and hostility. Because that's not us. That's the not us. We have us versus them. We have the us and we have the not us. And that's how we identify ourselves. It becomes binary. It becomes very binary. Um, I'm in the zero group, one group is wrong. I'm in the one group, zero group is wrong. Right? Does that make sense? So the challenge is to open our minds enough so that we can see our own biases, see our own natural biases, see our own natural, and I'm using the word natural to describe something that is um, mindless. Does that make sense? Something that comes natural is something that is, you don't have to think about it, it just is to you. So the challenge is to get beyond the mindlessness and the consuming of different cultural messages that promote the us versus them stereotype and story, and get to a place where you can see the different nuances and the different. Okay, so there's a couple things that I want to talk about that would probably be great examples. And this may be not. This may be a little bit um, controversial. We're talking about racial justice and the police. And I don't know if I want to go here, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. Derek Chauvin murdered George Floyd. Okay, everybody agrees on that. The jury made the decision. Everybody agrees on that. Wink, wink. Some of you don't. But in the definition of law, that was murder. Then we go to another police shooting where a young lady accidentally discharges her firearm instead of a taser. And I'm sorry, I don't remember the poor soul's name, but he gets shot. And you can see by the video, he's already sitting in, I forget, I don't remember if it was the cop car or his own car, but he was obviously just sitting there. Um, and she goes, taser, 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 and accidentally shoots him, thinking she was triggering her taser, and you can hear her say, "Oh my God, I shot him." And we want to demonize the hell out of her. We want to lock her up. It's not an excusable mistake, but it's still a mistake. And I really, really don't believe she was doing it based on race. Um, so what unfortunately has happened is we're coloring those kinds of things that happen with the same paintbrush, and we're demonizing all police. We're demonizing all white police, and we're victimizing all black people, or something like that. Um, Unfortunately, that's binary thinking. That's black and white, pardon the pun, thinking. Okay? So yes, Derek Chauvin killed the guy. Yes, he should be locked up. This other lady made a mistake, probably feels terrible about it, and we're going to punt her to the curb and crucify her because the guy was black and she was white, or something like that. It makes no sense, but it's where society's conscience is right now, unfortunately, for her. Um, So it's really, really important not to think in terms of zero and one and binary thinking and demonizing people because we feel the urge to, or it's our natural mindless uh, patterns that we're upholding in society. Okay, it's very important we don't do that, because if we do, that's not going to end anywhere good. Okay. Um, Another example, Israel and Palestine. This really, really hurts me, this whole thing going on over there. I consider myself a Christian, and That is Holy Land to me. And it's Holy Land to Muslims, and it's Holy Land to Jews. And we're turning it into a human hell, a human wasteland. We're killing each other over there, right? Jews are killing Palestinians, and Muslims and are getting mistreated. And oh my freaking goodness, what are we doing? That is inexcusable. That's Holy Land. We're shedding blood of our brothers based on whether or not they believe the same thing as us. Has anyone read the Bible? The New Testament, Christ saying, love your neighbor. Neighbor, think about that. Brother, neighbor. Is Palestine not your neighbor, Israel? I'm not sugarcoating this. It's not okay. This is my reaction. You're being stupid. You're killing people. It's not okay. I don't care. I don't care if they hurt you or if you hurt them or the past or the different beliefs. None of that is acceptable. It's not even close to being digestible to me, and I can't understand what you think permits you to do that. It blows my mind. We're thinking like monkeys instead of humans. We're being animalistic. This is the in-group, out-group situation with humans. Not good enough. Learn to love each other. Learn to love your neighbor. Right? Whatever shape your neighbor takes, he can be an alien from Mars. You better learn to love him, or none of us are going to survive. Stop killing each other. Please. There's enough going on in human life, that can kill us. We don't need to aid death and destruction. Satan does not need our help. Believe me. Believe me. Okay. So there was the two episodes, the two examples I wanted to use this episode. There are countless others. Try to be inclusive. Try to bring as many people into your in-group as you can. It's really the only way forward. We can talk about like nation states. They have proliferated and become a thing for the same reasons. This is my nation. This is my in-group. Everybody out there is a threat. I'm going to hold them at arm's length at best and kill them at worst. I'll let you think about that. I'll let you draw your own conclusions. But don't mistake me. Where we're headed is not good. Try to be more evolved. Try to think. Try to be less mindless. Okay? I am trying to include some of these themes in my fiction work that you can check out on jasontapscott.com. The third installment of the novella series is almost done. I hope to have a paperback novel out soon, which will include all three of the installments that have been written so far. Please be on the lookout for that. It should be done by the end of the summer, I'm hoping. I know I keep pushing back the end date, but the publication date, but just be on the lookout for it. I'm hoping that it's worth the wait. Yeah, check it out. Thank you. Have a good day.